over the national anthem protest heats up in the NFL. Our next guest says he used to kneel for the anthem as well, but he has a reality check for those professional players.
All right, Wall Street Journal's own columnist, Manhattan Institute senior fellow, and author of False Black Power, Jason Riley. Jason, you grew up, your religion said you couldn't stand for the national anthem. You changed when you became a teen. You remember that moment when you're at a game and you stood with your dad. What was that like?
Oh, I thought he felt very good about it. It was the first time I'd done it. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and we were taught really to shun all forms of patriotism. So we didn't stand for national anthems or salute the flag. It was considered a form of idolatry. But when I left the religion in my teens and started standing for it, I think my dad liked that. He was not a Jehovah's Witness, and my parents were divorced.
Growing up, though, in a country where everybody stands for the national anthem and things like that, it had to be hard for you.
Oh, yes, it was hard. It was, well, one of many things that made you stand out when I was growing up in the religion. But I don't challenge the patriotism of these players. What I'm questioning is whether what is being protested has some basis in reality. The players have said it's this increase in shootings by police of young black men that they're protesting. And while I would agree that there has been an increase in the coverage of these shootings, thanks mostly to social media, that's not the same thing as saying there's been an increase in the shootings. The data does not show that. Take New York City, where we are, for example. In 1971, cops shot 314 people in New York. 91 of them, or 93 of them fatally, I believe. Fast forward to 2015. They shot 23 people, 6 of them fatally. That's a 90% reduction in police shootings and police shooting fatalities over the past 4.5 decades. So the trend has been in the opposite direction. Nationwide, black men are about 70% less likely to be shot by cops than they were in the late 1960s. A black economist at Harvard, Roland Fryer, put out a study in 2016 that said black suspects are less likely than white suspects to be shot by police. So again, I'm challenging the narrative that they are protesting.
Spike Lee says, he said yesterday or 2 days ago that he believes that Colin Kaepernick and this whole movement that you just discussed will be put in the same frame as Muhammad Ali, standing up, fighting, not going into the Vietnam War.
I hope not. I don't think that is proper. I think that, again, people need to know the facts about what's going on. If these players wanted to play a constructive role, I think they could be saying to young black kids out there, when the police say stop, stop. Don't resist arrest. Fight them in courts, not out of the street. Most of these incidents that we've seen that have been played up in the media involve resisting arrest. And so I think the lesson to be learned here is to obey the police when they ask you to do something.
But your larger issue, and you wrote, the larger question, this is in his column in the Wall Street Journal, it's great. The larger question is whether what is being protested has some basis in reality beyond anecdotes and viral videos on social media, which you talked about a moment ago. So what are you saying about the folks who are doing the protesting? Are they they're just not getting their history right?
I think they don't have the facts right, and I think, again, the increase in the coverage has given the impression that there's been an increase in these incidents overall, and the data doesn't show that. Now, there are people out there who don't mind this false narrative. It works to their advantage. They have a political reason to do it, or they're social justice warriors, or other reasons to do it, but that doesn't mean that that is the reality of what's going on. In other words, I think, and to some extent, these players are being taken advantage of. By larger forces, political forces, civil rights advocates, and so forth, who find this convenient. The political left, yeah.
We'll see if the worst is behind us for this league and with this whole battle between patriotism and social justice. Jason, great column as usual.
Thank you.
Great to see you.